Welcome to Voices of Reality with the World According to Jessi K. I'm Jessi K. Today my guest is Mr. Craig Conrad, the author of Unstoppable You.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Good. Thanks for coming to my
You bet, thanks for having us.
You wrote a book called Unstoppable You. What inspired you to take up writing?
Well, what inspired me was every Friday in my class, I would read or tell my kids a story. The kids dubbed it the Friday story. And after 26 years of telling those stories every Friday in every class for 26 years, it went from telling them stories to they became the stories. And I just thought it'd be a nice thing to write those down so that if ever I left teaching, which I did 3 years ago, those stories would still be around. And so that was the inspiration for writing the book, was so the lessons of those stories would live on, even though I wasn't there telling them.
Okay. How did you meet the people you wrote about in your book?
Well, most of the people in the book were students that I had in my class. And the interaction with them through the course of my class and then staying in touch with them afterwards is how most of the stories were about the kids that I taught in my classroom. Although some of the funnier ones, are from incidences that happened to me as a child. And those are kind of pretty crazy stories. But
When you were on tour, what exactly are you talking about when you make your appearance?
well, most of our speaking is dealing with schools. We speak primarily at schools, and we address the issues of drugs, alcohol. Bullying is a huge issue that we deal with, and the disease of averagitis. And that's a term that I kind of coined, and what that means is when I taught school, dealt with a lot of kids that suffered from striving to be average, as I like to call it. A C is good enough. What do I need this class for? I'll never use this again, and so forth and so on. And I actually have a story called Keys on the Keychain to make kids aware of their education, their talent, their abilities, their skills that they develop. Add another key to the keychain. Because one thing I tell kids they're all going to deal with when they leave high school is they're going to come up against locked doors. There's a myth out there that opportunity is going to knock. Well, guess what, gang? Opportunity ain't knocking anymore. There's 15 million people unemployed in this country. And the only people that are going to get through that locked door are those that have the key. And so their skills, their abilities, their talents, all those things add another key to the keychain so that when they do come up against that locked door, they can get in while everyone else gets locked out. And it made kids realize the importance of their education. So that's what the disease of averagitis is, and that's one of the big issues that we try to address when we go to schools.
Okay. Out of all the people that you've helped, what stories have touched you the most?
You know what? That's as hard a question for me to answer as it is for kids at the schools when I tell the stories, and they vary. Donnie McClesley's story, Fill Your Cup, is not only one of my favorites, but the kids' favorites. Casey McAllister, his story is entitled, I Once Complained of Sore Feet Until I Met a Man with No Legs. When he was 6 years old, he got run over by a tractor-trailer truck. It actually cut him in two. And his mom ran out to the highway, picked him up, because she was standing right there, and gave him a kiss goodbye, figured he was dead. They all thought he was dead, and paramedics came. One of the paramedics could barely detect a pulse. They rushed this kid to the hospital. Anyway, long story short is he lived. And he was one of my Friday stories one day when my seniors were making all kind of excuses why they couldn't do things because, I put it as they were complaining of their sore feet. See, the lesson of that story is sometimes it's easy to focus on your problems because, oh, my little feet hurt, I've got it so bad, my little feet hurt. And then you meet somebody that don't even have legs. And that didn't let them stop that. And so Casey is an example of that. And during my presentations, we actually bring them live via the big screen so kids can actually see and hear the story. So those are probably my two favorite ones, although I've got many that I enjoy sharing.
What exactly are your Friday stories?
What are they?
Yeah.
Friday stories started as just a lesson, a story, because you can lecture a kid, they forget that. But you tell a story, and they remember that. Three Little Pigs, Pinocchio, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Instantly when I say that to you, images come into your head. You remember those from when you were, a little kid. And so I found the power of stories to be a very, very powerful force in teaching kids lessons because they might forget the lesson, but they wouldn't forget the story. And that way, they remembered the lesson.
Could you share one of them, a short one?
Let me think what would be a short one. Okay, this is one that I used to love to do. I would bring a banana into class, and the banana was green. And I'd share it with the class. I'd hold up the banana and say, I want you all to look at this banana because today this banana is green, which means what? And the kids would yell out, it's not right. Exactly, but something amazing is going to happen to this banana over the next few days. It's going to go from being green to being golden yellow. And when it's golden yellow, you want to do what? Because like, eat it. I go, yeah, why? Because that's when it's the best. I go, exactly. See, the banana will go from green to yellow. It's getting ripe. It's getting better. But there's a moment in time, and I don't know how you measure it, but there's an exact moment in time where the banana quits getting ripe. It's getting ripe, it's getting better, but then there it is, it's at its peak. And then something else starts to happen. It starts to rot. I said, and you're going to get to see it, kids, because this banana is going to hang on this chalkboard till the very last day of school. And they'd be like, sick! And I go, that's right. And I tie a string and I'd hang it on my chalkboard. And that banana would hang there the whole entire school year. Now, at the end of the school year, it didn't look anything like the green banana it was when it started. It's black, it's shriveled up, and it's so hard you can hit it on a surface and it's as hard as a brick. But the lesson of that is, see, you are just like the banana. You're either getting ripe or you're getting rotten. The banana doesn't have a choice. See, the banana's only going to get so good, and then it can't get any better than that. But see, we, people, kids, you have a choice. The minute you think you're the best student you can possibly be, the minute you think you're the best athlete you can possibly be, the minute you think you're the best son or daughter or whatever, the minute you're there and you refuse to get any better, you just started to rot. So I always hung a sign on my banana, you're either getting ripe or you're either getting rotten. And that's one of the lessons of the Friday story.
Story.